लेट मी सी इफ आई बी एबल टू डू इट। कभी कभी मेरा लंबा हो जाता है ना। यस
ओम
शोभा।
नमो नारायणाय
नमो
गुरुमा।
नारायण। बहुत दिन के बाद आप देहरादून आ गए कि अभी भी दिल्ली में है?
नहीं, देहरादून आई हूँ पर थोड़े से दिन की छुट्टियों में, 7 तारीख को फिर जाना है।
अच्छा।
7 दिन।
एटलीस्ट थोड़े दिन तो मिल गई छुट्टी।
हाँ, बेटी की छुट्टी थी ना स्कूल की, तो फिर उसने कहा मम्मी आप थोड़े दिन हो आओ।
हाँ हाँ। हम्म।
मैं रिकॉर्डिंग कभी कभी सुन लेती हूँ।
हाँ उसको
रात रात
ऑर्डर
में
ऑर्डर में सुनो, क्योंकि नहीं तो
ऑर्डर में सुन।
छूट जाता है क्योंकि
हाँ, ये तो है।
अभी एनीवे दो और दो क्लास में ये खत्म हो जाएगी। आत्मबोध
हाँ,
खत्म हो जाएगी।
असल में रात को सुनती हूँ 10:30 11 बजे, और
तब
फिर
तो
मुझे
नींद
पता नहीं
आएगी।
कब नींद आ जाती है।
गंगोर वेदांत में अच्छी नींद आ जाएगी।
पता ही नहीं चलता, वो कान में लगा ही रहता है मेरे सुबह तक कई बार।
हे नारायण। ओके, मैं सबको अभी अभी हम शुरू कर देते हैं। अपना भाटिया अंकल भी आ गए हैं।
नमो नारायणाय।
नमो नारायण अंकल जी।
ओम नमो नारायणाय गुरु माँ।
सबको नमो नारायण। गंगोर वेदांत की क्लास में यू आर ऑल वेलकम। तो पहले हम हमारी प्रेयर्स करेंगे। ओके। इसके पहले वाला चाहिए। ओम नारायणं पद्मभवं वसिष्ठं शक्तिं च तत्पुत्रपराशरं च व्यासं शुकं गौडपदं महान्तम् गोविन्दयोगीन्द्रमथास्य शिष्यम् श्रीशङ्कराचार्यमथास्य पद्मपादं च हस्तामलकं च शिष्यम् तं तोटकं वार्तिककारमन्यानस्मद्गुरून् सन्ततमानतोऽस्मि। श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादं शङ्करं लोकशङ्करं। शङ्करं शङ्कराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ईश्वरो गुरुरात्मेति मूर्तिभेदविभागिने व्योमवद्व्याप्तदेहाय दक्षिणामूर्तये नमः। अभी वर्स 45 से हम देखते हैं। तत्त्वस्वरूपानुभवाद् उत्पन्नं ज्ञानमञ्जसा अहममेति चाज्ञानं बाधते दिग्भ्रमादिवत्। सम्यग् विज्ञानवान् योगी स्वात्मन्येवाखिलं स्थितम् एकं च सर्वमात्मानं ईक्षते ज्ञानचक्षुषा। 47 आत्मैवेदं जगत् सर्वम् आत्मनोऽन्यन्न किञ्चन मृदो यद्वद्घटादीनि स्वात्मानं सर्वमीक्षते। जीवन्मुक्तस्तु तद्विद्वान् पूर्वोपाधिगुणां त्यजेत् स सच्चिदादिधर्मत्वं भवेत् भ्रमरकीटवत्। तीर्त्वा मोहार्णवं हत्वा रागद्वेषादिराक्षसान् योगी शान्तिसमायुक्त आत्मा रामो विराजते। बाह्यनित्यसुखासक्तिं हित्वात्मा सुखनिर्वृतः घटस्थदीपवत् स्वस्थ स्वान्तरेव प्रकाशते। उपाधिस्थोऽपि तद्धर्मैः अलिप्तो व्योमवन्मुनिः सर्वविमूढ सर्वविन्मूढवत्तिष्ठेत् असक्तो वायुवच्चरेत् उपाधि विलयाद् विष्णौ निर्विशेषं विशेन्मुनिः जले जलं वियद्भूम्नि तेजस्तेजसि वा यथा यल्लाभान्ना परो लाभो यत्सुखात् परं सुखम् यज्ञानात् परं ज्ञानं तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् यद्दृष्ट्वा न परं दृश्यं यद्भूत्वा न पुनर्भवः यज्ञात्वा न परं ज्ञेयं तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् तिर्यग् ऊर्ध्वमदः पूर्णं सच्चिदानन्दमद्वयम् अनन्तं नित्यमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत् अतद्व्यावृतिरूपेण वेदान्तै लक्ष्यते व्ययम् अखण्डानन्दमेकं यत् तद्ब्रह्मेत्यवधारयेत्. Okay. So last time we started this section on knowledge of Brahman, right? Which is from verse number 48, from 52 to 68. So in verse number 56, we saw, that was the last verse that we did, that it is through a process of negation of what Brahman is not, कि Brahman क्या नहीं है, ऐसे बोल बोल के we are led to discover what our true nature is. उसको मैं एक्सप्लेन नहीं कर रही हूँ क्योंकि मैं हरी में हूँ. तो जाने के पहले I want to finish this. Let's see if it will happen. So let's look at verse number 57. अखंडानंद रूपस्य तस्यानंद लवाश्रिताः अखंडानंद रूपस्य तस्यानंद लवाश्रिताः ब्रह्माद्यास्तारतम्येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनोऽखिलाः ब्रह्माद्यास्तारतम्येन भवन्त्यानन्दिनोऽखिलाः. तो आनंद लवा आश्रिताः. Lava means a bit. Ashritaha, depending on a bit of ananda, on a fraction of happiness of that Brahman. Tasya. What is the nature of Brahman? Akhandananda Rupasya. Brahman की नेचर है अखंड आनंद. उनकी स्वरूप क्या है? अखंड आनंद. जो आनंद में कोई खंड नहीं है. Ananda, which is total, which is full, which is complete, okay, in which there is no division, no limit at all, indivisible happiness. Okay. तो कौन डिपेंड करता है ऐसे ब्रह्मा जी के ब्रह्मन के छोटी सी बिट ऑफ आनंदा? ब्रह्माद्याहा, स्टार्टिंग फ्रॉम ब्रह्मा जी and all the other gods and all the other beings, they depend on only one small fraction of ananda of Brahman iti. Okay, and so all of them bhavanti, they become taratamyena, proportionately they become happy. Anandinaha, they become happy. So we are seeing that Brahma ji कौन है? जो क्रिएटर है, जो कमल के ऊपर बैठे हुए होते हैं. Okay, so Brahma ji, from the creator, Adyaha, as well as all the other gods, are Ashritaha. They are dependent on Ananda Lava. Lava means ek tukda, a small bit, okay, a fraction of Ananda. And that Ananda belongs to whom? To Brahman, whose nature is Akhanda Ananda Rupa. Okay. So here Shankaracharya is pointing out that even gods, जैसे ब्रह्मा जी जैसे भगवान, सब लोग, all the gods, all the devtas, as well as all the others in the universe, सबको आनंद तो होता है, पर वो जो आनंद है वो एक छोटा टुकड़ा है, ब्रह्मन की आनंद की एक छोटा टुकड़ा है. It's a fraction of that limitless ananda of Brahman. In the, in this Ramakrishna Mission book, here we have Akhilaha, and in Ramakrishna Mission book, they are having what? Anandino Lavaha. But we are taking this Akhilaha meaning. Okay. तो प्रीवियस वर्स में हमने देखा कि ब्रह्मन इज अखंडम एकम आनंदम. हाउ बिग इज ब्रह्मन? इट विल बी लाइक द फ्रॉग स्टोरी. दूसरे कॉन्टेक्स्ट में मैंने आपको फ्रॉग स्टोरी बताई थी. जो फ्रॉग था, द फ्रॉग, सो व्हेन दैट ओशन फ्रॉग केम, नो, एंड ओशन फ्रॉग टोल्ड दिस लिटिल फ्रॉग, जो वेल की फ्रॉग है, कि द ओशन इज वेरी बिग. देन द फ्रॉग आस्क्ड कि क्या इट इज दिस बिग? तो ओशन फ्रॉग ने बोला नहीं नहीं, इट इज बिगर बिगर बिगर. फिर उसने एक एंड ऑफ द वेल से दूसरी एंड में छलांग लगाई. एंड देन दिस ओशन फ्रॉग स्टार्टेड लाफिंग एंड सेड नहीं नहीं ऐसा नहीं है, इट इज मच बिगर. तो वो गुस्सा हो गया था. तो हम लोग भी वी कैन नॉट कंसीव व्हाट इज ब्रह्मानंद. इसलिए उपनिषद वांट्स टू गिव अस अ कंपैरिजन. एंड इन तैत्तिरीय उपनिषद, in the Ananda Mimamsa. Okay, Mimamsa means the analysis of Ananda. Just think of this, our Rishi Munis have done a big analysis of Ananda. And they give this analysis of Ananda. Let's look at that analysis. Okay, I am tempted to read, from my this thing. Okay. Yuva syat sadhu yuva dhyayaka ashishto dridishto balishtaha. So, supposing there is a young fellow, okay, he is the best fellow you can think of. किसी को marriageable daughter है तो यही लड़के के पास जाना पड़ेगा, because he is well versed in scriptures. बहुत आध्यात्मिक है, बड़ी disciplined है, determined है, उसके अंदर will power अच्छी है, और साथ साथ में इज ही वीक फेलो? नहीं, वो स्ट्रांग है, इज अ स्ट्रांग फेलो. और उनके पास ये पूरे पृथ्वी, दिस होल, the wealth of the whole universe is there with him. And if such a person is there, then Upanishad says this is equal to 1 unit of happiness. ठीक है, 1 unit of happiness. Okay. क्या हुआ? हाँ हाँ, आई थिंक मैंने थोड़ा स्किप कर लिया. हाँ हाँ, ते ये शतम मानुषा आनंदा. और इसके जो 100 फोल्ड है, ये तो 1 यूनिट. स एको मानुषा आनंद 1 यूनिट, ते ये शतम मानुषा आनंदा. ठीक है, और इसको 100 से हमने मल्टीप्लाई किया तो वो बना मनुष्य गंधर्वा नाम आनंद. सो 1 यूनिट ऑफ ह्यूमन हैप्पीनेस multiplied by 100 is equal to 1 unit of happiness for human like Gandharvas. They are more subtle than, they are more, a little bit more evolved than human beings. Then Shastra makes one very important line, or says this 100 units of happiness which the human Gandharva is getting, that is equal, that whole happiness, the person who is a Shrotriya, the one who has studied the Vedas, who has assimilated the Vedas, and who is free from craving, who is free from desire, that person has got that 1 unit of that, he has got all that happiness. It's a very interesting line, because जब हमें बता गया है कि हमारी नेचर ही हैप्पीनेस है, then why is it that we don't feel that happiness? Because there is so much craving in the mind. हमारे मन में, we already have this thought that I am apurna. Because the belief is there that I am apurna, मैं पूर्ण नहीं हूं, इसके कारण बहुत अनेक तरह की इच्छाएं आती है मन के अंदर कि ये इच्छा को पूरी करूंगी तो मैं पूर्ण बन जाऊंगा. Okay, so all kinds of desires are there. When desire is there, there is, there is disturbance in the mind. There's restlessness in the mind. So the restlessness in the mind keeps us from away from the happiness which is our own nature. That's why here Shastra points out at each point they're going to show you gradations of happiness. And at each point, the person who is free from desire, who has assimilated this jnanam, that person has got that happiness. Okay? So let's look at that. Okay. So that was te ye shatam manusha anandah sa eko manushya gandharvanam anandah shrotriyasya cha kamah tasya te ye shatam manushya gandharvanam anandah sa eko deva gandharvanam anandah. Now, okay, so we had 1 unit of human like Gandharva ka happiness, and that happiness multiplied by 100 is equal to 1 unit of the celestial Gandharvas. Okay, Deva Gandharvana Ananda. So now we had 1 Manusha Ananda into 100 into 100 is equal to 1 unit of celestial Gandharva Ananda. And that much Ananda, the person who has assimilated this knowledge, who is not bitten by desire, that person has got. इतनी जल्दी क्यों आ गई? फिर टक 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 करेगी किचन के अंदर. नहीं नहीं एक मिनट. हाँ, I was trying to tell my maid to do softly, so much noise comes when she does. She, because my kitchen doesn't have a, it doesn't have a, this thing, division. So आवाज बहुत आती है. Okay. So, okay, so this person who doesn't have this craving, the person whose mind is शांत, और जिसने ये वेद को समझा है, तो उसको पता है कि मैं पूर्ण हूं, इसके कारण उसके मन एकदम शांत है, तो उनको उतना ही आनंद होता है जितना ये देव गंधर्वा को होता है आनंद. फिर शास्त्र गोज ऑन, ते ये शतम देव गंधर्वाणाम आनंदः स एक पितृणाम चिरलोक लोकानाम आनंदः. तो that bliss of the Deva Gandharvas, when it is multiplied by 100, is equal to 1 unit of Ananda which the Pitras are getting. So now this is 100 into 100 into 100. Okay? And that the whole this Shrotriyasya cha Akamahatasya unko milta hai. That student who has understood the Shastra and who is free of desire. And like this goes on. Okay? स एका आजान जानान देवानाम आनंदः. और ये जो ते ये शतम पितृणाम चिरलोकना कर्म लोकानाम आनंदः स एक आजान जानाम देवानाम आनंदः. और ये पितृस का जो आनंद है उसको 100 से मल्टीप्लाई करो तो वो 1 unit ऑफ अजान जाना गॉड्स विच आर देयर उनका होता है. और वो ही इतना ही आनंद किसको मिलता है? जो श्रोत्रिय है, जिसके अंदर ये कामना नहीं है. ठीक है, फिर से बताती है. और ये ते ये शतम आजान जानाम देवाम नाम आनंदः स एक कर्म देवानाम. So many gradations of people are there, gradations of subtle bodies are there. So joy of ajana gods into 100 is 1 unit of joy of the karma devas. And that same joy, who is getting? This Shrotriya, who is free of all kama, iti. Okay. Then again, te ye shatam karma devanam devam anandah, say eka devanam anandah. So this karma deva's joy into 100 is equal to 1 unit of deva ananda. And that much Deva Ananda, this Shrotriya has got. The people who are below that don't get that Ananda, but the Shrotriya has got the Ananda of all these people. Then 100 units of Deva Ananda is equal to 1 unit of Indra Ananda. है? जो इंद्र देवता है उसको जितना आनंद होता है देवलोक का आनंद की 100 टाइम्स उतना ही आनंद जिसके अंदर जिसने समझा है कि मैं पूर्ण हूं और जिसके अंदर काम नहीं है उनको पता होता है ओके ते ये शतम इंद्रस्यानन्दाः स एको बृहस्पतेरानन्दः श्रोत्रियस्य च कामः तस्य. Now that happiness of Indra multiplied by 100 is equal to 1 unit of happiness of Brihaspati. And that much Ananda this Shrotriya has got. Okay? This person who has understood the Shastra and who doesn't have karma, that person has got. Then bliss of Brihaspati into 100 is equal to 1 unit of Prajapati. So there's so much of gradation is there. Ye punya, according to the punya, people are born into these yonis. So Prajapati is very high. He is the Brahmaji actually. I is equal to 1. Okay. So Brahaspati का आनंद जो है वो ही आनंद जो श्रोत्रिय है जिसके अंदर काम नहीं है the same आनंद this श्रोत्रिय person gets. Then 100 units of Prajapati's Anand is Brahmanand. Okay? And that this Shrotriya gets. So let's look at this. Okay, so here is the chart. Okay, let me go to my notes. Okay. So look at this chart. I found this on the net. It was good. This is the Manusha Ananda, 1 unit. This is Sony uncle can do the math. See? So uska 100. So naturally, 10 to the power of 2 hoga. 100 into 100, all the maths teachers. फिर उसका 100 10 to the power of 4 हो गया. देव गंधर्वाणाम आनंदः. फिर ये पितृस का आनंद है 10 to the power of 6, 10 to the power of 8, 10 to the power of 10, and lastly Brahmananda is 10 to the power of 20 units. And all that Ananda belongs to this one person who has got Vairagya. This person who has got really good Vairagya and who has understood that Aham Purnaha, who has got Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, who has got Vairagya, who has understood that I am Purnaha, that person has got all of this Ananda. So all these Anandas are there in Brahmananda. Then you say, should we add them all up? No, 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 no. Brahmananda is infinite. And so even if you add it up, it will all be just a fraction of that, So Brahmananda doesn't have a trace of any dukkham in it. Now supposing there's a person, who looks very happy. उसके साथ थोड़ी देर के लिए बात करो और उनके अंदर कोई ना कोई अभाव पता हो जाएगा. वो बोलेगा ना मेरा ये ठीक नहीं चल रहा है, इसके कारण मेरी थोड़ी ये है. Whereas Brahmanandam, there is not a dot of dukkham in it. Okay? So this Shrotriya Akamahatasya, that person has got the highest Ananda in our relative world. Okay? Now coming back to the verse. Where to put you all? Okay. Brahmadhyaha. Here's this. Brahmadhyaha. Okay. Adipada. Brahmadhyaha. Brahma and Adipada includes all those people below who were there. Brahma is the highest, and below that so many gradations of people were there, of devatas, of subtle bodies were there. It includes all of them. So all the varieties of jivas is included in that. And they all dependent on just a lava, one fraction of Brahmaji's Ananda. One drop of Brahmananda is taken and that is divided among all of these. And what happens? All of them, they become happy proportionately. depending on their level, where they are. The level is actually punya ka level, you know. What is their status? That status is depending on their punya. Iti. ये ग्रेडेशन इज इजी टू अंडरस्टैंड. इधर मैं आपको एक जोक बोलूं या सोनी अंकल एक जोक बोल दे बिकॉज ही इज द जोक मास्टर, तो वो एक जोक बता दे हम सबको. सम विल लाफ, सम विल स्माइल, सम विल नॉट लाफ एट ऑल. इधर ही इतनी ग्रेडेशन है, तो पूछो मत यूनिवर्स में क्या होती होगी. एंड व्हाट इज ब्रह्मानंदा? इट इज अखंडा, एकदम पूर्ण है. ओके, लिमिटलेस, कोई लिमिट नहीं है उसमें. So what is the purpose of this discussion? Purpose of this discussion is that if all these are just a fraction of Brahmananda, you can imagine what is Brahmananda. Don't try to imagine that it's a very, very happy experience. Kyunki if it is an experience of Ananda, this is very serious topic. Okay, let me see if I can get out from here. Stop share. Yeah. So if it is an experience of Ananda, right? If it's just an experience, then it will become limited. Because experiences come and go. All of us know, हमारे सामने गुलाब जामुन आए, आनंद हुई, गुलाब जामुन खत्म हो गई, आनंद चले गए. So experiences of Ananda, they come and go. So experiential happiness is just a mental event. Whereas the infinite Ananda that we are talking about is in the form of understanding that this Ananda or Purnatvam is my nature. And so once you recognize this fact that Purnatvam Ananda is my nature, then every Ananda that you experience, you understand that it is your own nature. Every, so Gulab Jamun Ananda is Brahmananda. I did some pranayam Ananda is Brahmananda. Meditation Ananda is Brahmananda. And whose Ananda is that? It is my own Ananda. So every Ananda is like a mirror in which I see my own Ananda. So I don't have to go after any particular Ananda. You know, in, the word enjoy, E-N and joy. Now in Tamil, if you say enna, enna means my. So enna joy, it is my joy. Enjoy, the word, just a pun. There's a word enjoy. So this word enna, end, we write enjoy as en, enna joy. So in South Indians will say it's enna joy. That means it's my joy. It's my joy. So if you enjoy ice cream, it's not ice cream joy. If you think it is ice cream joy, then when the ice cream is over, you will cry. But if you say it is my joy, then joy is me. Iti. So now let's look at why any joy other than Brahmananda is fractional. I look at it from a different angle. दूसरी एक angle से. Now any experience that we are having, whether it's a joy experience or it's any other experience, it is in the form of a vritti, right? A thought taking place in the mind. All experiences are nothing but vritti, some thought taking place in the mind. So really all our experiences are mental events. Now, the mind by its very nature is limited, correct? Mind is a limited mind. So even though consciousness is all pervasive, it is limitless, it is infinite, it is vast, the consciousness which is manifest in our mind is limited by the very nature of the mind. Supposing, to help you understand this, I take the example of the pot space, the space which is within a pot. This is my pot, okay? The space which is within the pot and the space outside the pot, limitless space. So space is there in the pot, no doubt. If the pot is empty, there is space in the pot. but that space is conditioned by the edges of the pot. So it looks like it's a limited pot, right? In the same, the space outside the pot is unconditioned. In the same way, infinite consciousness is manifest in the mind, and it is limited by the very presence of the mind. By whatever is going on in the mind, it is limited by that. It is conditioned by that. So, the Akhanda Ananda, that is the limit-free Ananda, the limitless Ananda, it appears as limited Ananda. It is just a fraction of the Brahmananda when, because of some nimitta, for example, if there is a gulab jamun there and I like gulab jamun becomes the nimitta, the reason for me to enjoy Ananda. But that Ananda, because it is a vritti in the mind, is limited by the mind itself, and therefore it can only be a fraction of that Brahmananda. Okay? Okay. So whatever Anand we experience, again, the other fact is that it is temporary. It comes and it comes to go. It will come and it will go. It comes to go. And that is true for even Brahmaji. You know, anywhere where a mind is there and any experiential Ananda is taking place, then that Ananda comes to go. Brahmaji has also got a mind. His mind is vast, much vaster than ours. So he has more Ananda definitely, but it is still in keeping with his mind. Okay. So Brahmadhyaha, Brahmaji and the other gods, I'll have to share again because I'm coming back to word meaning. Okay. Akhilaha, all of them, Akhila is here, all of them. Bhavanti is here. Anandinaha, they all become happy, possessed of happiness. How? Taratamyena, in graded manner, in a graded manner. Okay, we saw that graded manner in the Ananda Mimamsa. So depending on where their position is, the human being has got only that, 1 unit of Ananda. If you be a perfect human being, then you get 1 unit of Ananda. And all these higher beings have much more Ananda, but it's still a graded one. Okay. And we saw that in the Taittiriya Upanishad, how they are pointing out. And so the point of this text, Taittiriya Upanishad, is to show that the Ananda that we experience is relative. It is limited. Which means what? It is temporary. Relative means it is temporary. It is not Akhanda Ananda. There will be always gradations of Ananda. Priyamoda. So Shastra is differentiating between Ananda as an experiential Ananda from Akhanda Ananda, which is Purnatvam, limitless, the fullness, the wholeness, which is not an experience, which is your nature. Okay, it is one's own nature. So Akhandananda is not an experience, because in Akhanda Ananda, there is no more or less. There is no Taratamya, there is no gradation in Akhanda Ananda. It doesn't begin and end. It only refers to your true nature of being Purnam or being full. It is the inner divinity. So now I'm quoting from Swami, So who is going to, I'll ask Komal to read it maybe, or maybe I'll only read it because I'm familiar with it. Huh? Komal, you can read it.
मनुष्य जीवन की आनंद सत्ता है। अगर मनुष्य के पास कोई दुख, दैन्य या किसी प्रकार का भ्रम, भय, अभाव दिखाई देता है, तो उसका कारण है आत्मा विस्मृति, स्वयं से परे का जीवन, अन्य में आसक्ति, स्वयं से विरति, जो स्वयं से विरति और पर में प्रसन्नता की जो अन्वेषक वृत्ति है, जो खोजी वृत्ति है, अन्य में प्रसन्नता, स्वयं में शून्यता, स्वयं से अपने से, स्वयं से विलग्नता,
स्वभाव से,
स्वभाव से विलग्नता दुख की कारण है। इसीलिए बड़ी सीधी बात, जो जितना स्वभाव के आसपास है वो इतने ही बड़े आनंद के पास है। अध्यात्म स्वभाव उच्यते, अध्यात्म की अर्थ है स्वभाव की ओर लौटना। उपासना का भी अर्थ है कि अपनी ओर, अपनी निजता की ओर लौटना। हर वस्तु अपना एक स्वभाव रखती है, हर वस्तु का कोई स्वभाव है। ग्रंथ कहते हैं जो उसका मूल स्वभाव है वही उसका धर्म भी है। जैसे अग्नि का स्वभाव है दाहकता, उत्पत्तता, उष्णता, जो उसमें स्वाभाविक उष्णता है, उष्म है, वो उसका स्वभाव तो है ही, वो उसका धर्म भी है। जैसे जल में आर्द्रता, तरलता, गीलापन, उसमें वाष्प हो जाना ओस बन जाना। तो जैसे अग्नि में दाहकता, जल में आर्द्रता, दिशाओं में व्यापकता, आकाश में अनंतता, वैसे ही हम में एक विराटता है जो ब्रह्म के विराटता है। स्वामी अवधेशानंदा।
Yeah. So the point is that Ananda is our Swarupa. It is our Swabhava. वो अपना निजता है. What you say, that nijata, I think, means that which is closest to you. That which is, that which is closest to you is you. Eh? So the point there in that whole, why I put that quote there was, because, don't see this, this was the previous verse. Why I put that was because we are talking about how Brahmananda is our Swarupa. It is our nature. And Adhyatma की अर्थ है स्वभाव की ओर लौटना, so coming and recognizing that your nature is purnatvam, that is what adhyatma is all about. Okay, so that is why I put that verse, and now we'll go to the next one. Tadyuktam akhilam vastu vyavaharaschidanvitaha, tadyuktam akhilam vastu vyavaharaschidanvitaha, तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म, तस्मात् सर्वगतं ब्रह्म, क्षीरे सर्पिरिवाखिले, क्षीरे सर्पिरिवाखिले. So akhilam vastu, here akhilam is sitting here, akhilam vastu, all objects, tadyuktam, they are all united with or associated with Brahman. Tad is a pronoun referring to Brahman. They are associated with that Brahman. And vyavaharas chidanvitaha. Anvitaha. Anvitaha means to be pervaded. Chit. Chit is consciousness. So pervaded by consciousness. What is pervaded by consciousness? All transactions. All vyavahara is pervaded by consciousness. Tasmat, therefore, the all-pervading Brahman, Sarvagatam Brahma. Sarvagatam means all-pervading Brahman is in all. Because it's pervading everything, naturally it will be in all. Akhile. Like what? Like butter which is in milk. Okay, so again we are having a lot of metaphors here. So here Acharya is saying that all the people are all the time. All people are all the time in Brahman. That means we are in Brahman, seeing Brahman, handling Brahman. Okay, because all vyavahara. So the difference between Jnani and Ajnani is one knows, the other does not know. One eats rasgulla without knowing it is rasgulla, and therefore asks for rasgulla, mujhe rasgulla do, mujhe rasgulla do. Then Guru has to say that, hey, you're eating rasgulla only. So everybody is experiencing Brahman. I can get out of this, because then I can see all better. Okay? So Brahman is another word for Sat. What does Sat mean? Sat means existence. So technically we have this thing saying that Brahman lends Satta and Sfurti. Okay, Satta and Sfurti to everything in this universe. So what is Satta? Satta is existence. So Brahman gives existence to whatever is there in the universe. Okay. What is Sfurti? Sfurti is the knownness. Brahman gives existence or Satta to everything, like clay gives existence to the pot. The whole pot is nothing but clay. So when a person is handling a pot, when the person is seeing the pot, what does he see or handle? The person says, I am handling a pot. What will the wise person say? You're handling clay. Pot is not there. All that is there is only clay. Pot is only a name. ना एक नाम दिया गया है बस. So all the time he is handling clay and thinks that he is handling a pot. Look at that. In Vyavahara, all the time he is handling the clay. But in his mind, what does he think? I am handling the pot. So now this Ajnani, he closes his eyes. Now he says, I want to experience clay. I have to experience the clay. Iti. He says, I have experienced pot a lot. मैंने pot को बहुत अनुभव किया है. अभी तो मुझे clay चाहिए. Iti. So he goes searching for clay, by closing his eyes. Iti. Anyway, all the time, the sat of the pot. Sat means the existence of the pot. What is the existence of the pot? It is clay. So, what is the existence of the world? It is Brahman. What is the Sat of this world? It is Brahman. So let me put something up for you all. You all can see this. You can read the meaning while I sing it. Yasyaiva sfuranam sadatmakam satkalpartakam bhasate. Sakshat tattvamasiti veda vachasa yo bodhayatyashritan yat sakshat karanat bhavena punara vrittir bhavambo nidau tasmai shri guru murtaye nama idam shri dakshina murtaye. So in this verse from Dakshinamurti Stotram, the same thing is saying, Dakshinamurti is the Lord, he is Brahman. And he whose manifestations means Brahman whose manifestations. They are nothing but existence. All of it is just Sat. Every manifestation is nothing but Sat. In your whole body, go to a single cell, cell is. That isness is Sat. Bone is. That isness of the bone is Sat. Blood is. Isness of the blood is Sat. It is all nothing but Sat, So the Lord, his manifestations are nothing but manifestations of himself, Sat. And that Sat only appears as all the objects of the world. So it's one infinite existence appearing as all the objects of the world. Iti. Okay? So then, of course, the rest of the verse, because it's a Dakshinamurti Stotram. So this Dakshinamurti imparts to those who have surrendered to him direct enlightenment through the Vedic statement, Tattvamasi. And after the direct recognition of which there is no more any return to samsara iti. That's okay. So when we say is, supposing I say is, the is Brahman. Okay, all is Brahman. Now let's look at the word sfurti. I said Brahman gives satta and sfurti to the whole universe. Sfurti means to know, the knownness of something. You know, like this pot, I know this pot, that knownness of the pot. Okay. So Brahman gives satta, existence, and sfurti, knownness to everything in the universe. How does it give knownness? By giving you consciousness, by giving me consciousness, the consciousness by which you know the world around you. That consciousness is Brahman's manifestation in your mind. Now, Brahman is the absolute reality. We saw that it is the fabric of existence, right? It is that underlying fabric of existence. It is the satta, that fabric of existence, meaning the satta of the whole creation. Just like clay is the fabric of existence of the pot. Clay is that because of which the pot exists, correct? So too Brahman is the underlying fabric of existence, because of which anything in the universe exists. Now, this pot, it makes its existence known. It makes its existence known to you and me because of consciousness which is in our mind, right? So the fabric of existence because of which everything exists, it is not inert. वो जड़ नहीं है, वो conscious है. It is conscious reality. So Brahman is conscious reality, and it gives existence and knownness to all that exists. For example, I am, when you say, in this I am, the am is, but the I also includes chit, consciousness. So outside I experience Sat Brahman, the existence that is Brahman, and inside or in the mind, I experience Chit. Okay? So when I'm happy, I'm experiencing Satchidananda. World has got Sat Amsha of Brahman. Conscious being has got the Chit Amsha, the Sat Amsha, Chit Amsha of Brahman. And Gnani, he has got the Ananda Amsha also. That's a funny way of saying it, but anyway. So, Akhilam Vastu, every object in the creation, Akhilam Vastu, is Tadyuktam. Okay? It is united with Brahman, or you can say it is associated with Brahman, just like clay is associated with the pot. Clay is, the pot is Yuktam with the clay. It is joined or united with the clay. All the pots which are there, they are all united with the clay. Because clay is the Adhishtanam. Brahman is the Adhishtanam of the universe. So everything is connected, or you can say Yuktam, associated or united with Brahman. Vyavahara Chid Anvitaha. And all our transactions are in Brahman alone. Just like supposing you have, a clay pot, a clay lid, a clay jug. All of them, you are handling each of them. So in each of them, what are you handling? You're handling the clay. So too in the world, whatever is here is nothing but existence in different forms. And we are handling Brahman, existence alone. And that Brahman, wherever, for the Jnani, wherever his mind goes, there Brahman is there. Yatra yatro mano yati, there is a statement, tatra tatra. So wherever the Jnani's mind goes, for him, there is Brahman alone, because he recognizes that it is that one existence alone appearing in many different forms. And therefore, Brahman is Sarvagatam. It is all pervading. Okay? Tasmat Sarvagatam Brahma. And it pervades like what? An example is given. Akhile Kshira Sarpa Iva. Like butter in milk or ghee in milk. Sarpi actually means ghee. And take it as butter. So take a cup of whole milk. Skimmed milk में तो ये नहीं पता होगा. You have to take whole milk. And the butter which is there in the milk is not seen, is not visible to the eye, but it is definitely there in the milk. Even though it can't be seen, So like butter is there in the milk throughout the milk. All through the milk it is there. In the same way, this Brahman also, it is there in the whole universe, pervading the whole universe. Even though you don't see it, it's not a matter of your perception. Now, this example can have a small problem with it. So, examples should only be used, for whatever purpose they are being used. Here, the example is to show you that Brahman is all pervading. It can't be seen, and yet it is all pervading. That's all. That much only the example. Some smart fellow may come and say, but butter you can churn and you can extract. So is it that Brahman you can churn, and you can extract it? Can you take away the clay from the pot? You cannot. There will be no, it's impossible. So too, you cannot take away Brahman from the universe. It's just impossible. Huh? Okay. Okay. And so, yes, you can know about Brahman through churning with knowledge. Okay. Next verse is Ananvastulam Ahraswam. Tough one, this is. Ananvastulam Ahraswam Adirgam Majam Avyayam. So you can see how, the ma here has got a in it. So stulam, then it is ahraswam. Then here it ends with ma, adirgham. Ends with ma, ajam. Ends with ma, avyayam. This is Sanskrit. Eh? So you would have to put an everywhere. Eh? Arupam, arupa guna varnakyam tad brahmetyavadharayet. Tad brahma iti avadharayet. Know that to be Brahman, okay, which is not ananu, which is not subtle. It's a very contradictory verse. Which is not, if it is not subtle, then maybe it is gross. No, it is not gross either. Astula. It is not short. Oh, then maybe it is long. No, it is not long. Adirgham. And it is unborn. It is avyayam. It is indestructible. And it is free of form, free of quality, free of caste, free of name. This will go with rupa, will go with guna, will go with varna, will go with akhyam. Okay. And so now let's look at the meaning. Tad Brahma avadharayet, we saw that is the nature of Brahman. Brahman should be recognized in this way. So this verse is a paraphrase of a famous verse in Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, where the great Rishi Yajnavalkya is teaching Gargi, female, okay? And he uses these very same words. So it is free of anu. Anu means something, and it is saying here ananu. Is a negative particle here. Anu means something very small, So he's saying anu. Ananu means it is not a small thing. Then stulam means big. It is not a big thing. And somewhere in one of the Upanishads it said anoraniyan mahato mahiyan. It is more subtle than the subtle. It is bigger than the biggest. All looks like big contradiction. Kya bol rahe ye log? The idea is when it is said that it is both small and it is big, it means it is neither small nor big. Now here it is said ahraswam, it is not short. Oh, then is it long? Adirgham, no, it is not long also. So the purpose of these contradictory statements, what is the purpose? Is that the intellect must stop the search. Intellect must stop the search. Because intellectual search is always in a relative field of whatever can be objectified, whatever can be conceptualized, in which something is either this way or it is that way. And that is how we are all used to, our whole vyavahara is conducted through our intellect. So Shastra is saying intellect बंद हो जाए, पहले समझ लो and उसके बाद let go. Because Brahman is not an object, number one. You cannot, it's not an object. So it is not in this way or it is in that way. No. Brahman is not an object of perception, nor is it an object of your thought. So the intellect has to stop searching to be able to recognize one's own self. Okay? When intellect stops its seeking, what will happen to the intellect? Supposing it stops seeking. Then it will abide in the one who is seeking. So what Shastra wants to point out, that the sought is not outside. What you are seeking is not outside anywhere. It is the very seeker himself. For that sake alone, negation is done to point out that the seeker is the sought. What you're seeking is what you are. Eh? So anyway, we will see that again. Ajam. It's said over here, Ajam. Ajam is sitting here. Ajam. Ajam means unborn. Avyayam means indestructible, inexhaustible. That which is free of all change. Iti. Arupam, which has no form or color. Arupa. Aguna, which is free of all attributes. Avarna, which has got no caste in it. Your varna will not be taken as color, but no caste. No species, no caste, nothing. Anakhyam. Akhyam means a name. Anakhyam means which is free of name. It doesn't have any name. There are no labels, no names in Brahman. It's just one infinite existence. Doesn't require any name. Iti. In Mundaka Upanishads, it's said as Prapanchopashamam. It doesn't require any name. Eh? Then why do you call it Brahman? Why you gave name called Brahman? Hey, we are human beings. We need to teach you what is Brahman, so we have to use something, no? So we are just using a name. That name is also not required. When you understand, you don't require the name also. Eh? It is just an adhyasa. So now look at this. Negation, arupam. All this is negation. The entire verse is negation. So what does negation do? What does negation do? Negation leads you to discover, last time we did the process of negation, where the married couple have to discover that particular star Arundhati. Correct? तो वो उसको बताया ये वाला, हाँ ये ना, बट इट इज नॉट दैट. अच्छा वो वाला, हाँ दिख तो जा रहा है, हाँ नहीं वो नहीं है. अच्छा वो जो ऊपर आपको दिख रहा है, ऊपर उसके ऊपर एक स्टार है, हाँ दिख रहा है, नहीं वो भी नहीं है. Process of negation. So it was through the process of negation that this married couple came to discover what that star Arundhati, right? In the same way, when you negate whatever is not Brahman, which is what? Whatever you experience is not Brahman. That is what is being told. Whatever you're objectifying, whatever you're experiencing, na iti, na iti. It is not Brahman. It is not Brahman. Because whatever you experience is finite, it is limited, it is temporary, correct? So, like this, when you negate, finally what is left? Only you, the experiencer, the basic consciousness that you are, the one who negates, that is all that is left. Only the one who negates is left. Yeah? Consciousness is the basic nature of the experiencer. Chit Swarupoham. You are consciousness first. It's your very, very basic nature. It cannot be negated. And so through the process of negation, it leads you to a point where you can't negate anymore. Because you cannot negate yourself. You're sitting there as consciousness. You negated your body, you negated your prana, you negated your mind, your feelings, your emotions, your ego also you negated. Memories bhi negate ho gayi. But you are still there, the one who is negating. And that one who is negating is a conscious being. And that is what is being told, that consciousness, which is self-revealing, which is self-existent, which is self-evident, that consciousness is what you are, and that consciousness is Brahman. It's not an object, but it is your own true nature. And that consciousness, which is your own true nature, is all this, indestructible, avyayam, arupam, agunam, whatever. It is all of this stuff. Eh? It is ananu, it is not big, it is not small, okay, etc. Okay. And so now we come to our last verse for today. Yeah. Oh, it's already 1 hour. I fat kar deti hu ye verse. But this is also a very beautiful verse. Maybe I should leave it for next time. Eh? Okay. Yad bhasa bhasyate. Yad bhasa bhasyater kar. I've got lost the tune. Yad bhasa bhasyater kadi. Bhasye yattu na bhasyate. Yena sarvamidam bhati. Tad brahmetyavadaraye. I'll take a little bit extra because I do want to finish before I go. I'm not sure when I'll come back. And in Trivandrum, it will be very difficult because just be running after the government and running after the, looking for houses and disposing of stuff. Eh? So, okay. So, of course, Tad Brahma iti avadarayet. May you know that to be Brahman, by whose light shines the sun and moon. Yad bhasa bhasyate arkadi. But, which is bhasyehi, tu is but, but. Bhasyehi yat na bhasyate. But which is not illuminated or which does not shine by those illuminated objects. Nothing can light it up. It lights up everything, yet nothing lights it up. Meaning it is self-revealing. And it is that because of which this whole universe shines or is known. Okay? Okay. So here Brahman is defined as that which is by nature self-revealing. Swayam Prakasha Rupaha. And the metaphor is used here of light. Arkadi. Arka means the sun. Adi means all things which illumine, like the moon, the stars. Okay? All which are illuminators. Arkadi. Sun, moon, stars. Bhasyate. No doubt they shine, they are illumined. But they are illumined by what? By whose light? They are illumined by the light of Brahman. So by the light of Brahman, the sun, moon and stars are known. How do you know that the sun shines? How do you know that the moon shines? That the star shines, you know, but why? because you are a conscious being. If you weren't a conscious being, if there was no such thing as a conscious being, which is impossible, but anyway, if there was no such thing as a conscious being, who would know that the sun is shining, that the moon is shining? Who would know that? So that consciousness by which you know that the sun and moon shines, that consciousness is Brahman iti. So Brahman's manifestation in your mind has got consciousness. Yet bhasa, by the light of Brahman, everything gets satta, existence, and sphurti, right? Knownness. We saw that Brahman is giving satta and sphurti to everything. It gives sphurti, knownness to the sun and moon by making you the conscious observer of the sun and moon. You being present, the sun and moon can be known. Iti. The light of consciousness, which is yourself, being there, the sun and moon can be known. Though even though the sun and moon look like they are self-revealing objects, they don't, especially the sun looks like it's a self-revealing object. But still the sun requires the light of consciousness that is you. Even that bright, brilliant sun, So by the light of Brahman, Yad Bhasa, even shining objects like the sun and moon are known. Tu, yet, Yat, that Brahman is that which na bhasyate, is not illumined by other bhasyehi, by other things. It is not illumined by any other light. Iti. So Brahman is the light of consciousness by which everything is known. Yet the light of consciousness that is Brahman is not revealed by any other light. With a torch, you don't look at Brahman, So light here, of course, is metaphorically representing consciousness. So the consciousness, which is Brahman, is not revealed by another consciousness. That because of which everything is illumined, and that which is not illumined because of anything else, that is Brahman. It illumines everything, and yet it is not illumined by anything else. That is Brahman, and that is the consciousness that you basically are. And it is because of Brahman that the world has got satta and sphurti. So Brahman does not shine because of the world. It is self-revealing, swaprakasha. It is not revealed by another consciousness. And there is something important here now. Okay. So here we can look at what self-revealing means, Supposing this is consciousness A. And if I say that, consciousness requires another consciousness to reveal it, then this consciousness requires B to reveal consciousness A, but B requires some C to reveal consciousness B, and C requires D to reveal consciousness D, D requires E to, and it will go on and on. This is called as infinite. This is a logical problem. It's called as infinite regression. There is no ending to this, And so Vedanta answers that consciousness is not known by consciousness. Consciousness is not revealed by consciousness. Objects are revealed by consciousness. Whereas consciousness does not need to be revealed by anything because it is self-revealing. It reveals itself. Swayam prakashate. So we find that the sun and moon, they are lighted up. They have lighted themselves up, but it's only a relative, they're only self-revealing in a relative sense. Whereas consciousness is self-revealing in an absolute sense. Sun and moon, even though they shine, their shining is only known because of consciousness. And this consciousness, which is Brahman, is not known by any other consciousness. This Brahman is self-revealing. Okay? Okay. So, yena, it is by that Brahman, that light of consciousness, yena, sarvam idam bhati. Whole universe is known and can be known because of the consciousness manifest in your mind, in my mind. The consciousness which is the conscious fabric of all of reality. And this verse, Yena Sarvamidam Bhati, echoes a very beautiful verse from Mundaka Upanishad, which we all sing for Arati, which I think only Mrs. Bhatia is familiar with, Dr. and Mrs. Bhatia, because they come to our ashram. न तत्र सूर्यो भाति न चंद्र तारकम नेमा विद्युतो भान्ति कुतोऽयमग्निः तमेव भान्तमनुभाति सर्वं तस्य भासा सर्वमिदं विभाति. So very beautiful verse, which says that, because this is at the time in a temple when there were no electric lights. And you had only those small, small lights of the temple which were lighting up the sanctum sanctorium. And then when you did Arati, then the sanctum sanctorum had little lights, you could barely see what was inside. Then when you did the Arati, it looked as though you're seeing the Lord. So this verse is asking, how can this small light of this Arati, how can it light up you? You are God, you are Ishvara, you light up the whole Jagat. Because of you, everything is lighted and illumined and comes alive. And how can this small little arti of mine, light you up? So it's this thing. Everything shines after him who alone shines. By his light, everything else shines. Iti. So this was that verse. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha Harihi Om. Okay. So next week I hope to, do visits in this thing, Ram Vihar. Not everybody, but I will visit Sony uncle, I'll visit Kumal's mama, Mera uncle, and Mrs. Pramanik. These people I will visit. And then if, so I may have to do it in 2 days because then you spend time with people just talking with them. So it may not happen. So let's see. Yeah. And yeah. Okay. Om Hari Om. Tat